Morning. It's Saturday and I'm babysitting. I let him inside. Got a big old softy. He sticks inside once in a while and then he goes outside, right? Funny little bugger. Tell you what, you're very promising. Very promising. Either way, I'm working on foundation. I don't like this. So this foundation I pulled out of an old swarm hive because the problem is if they're not secured nicely, and especially because they're not full pieces, they don't have any support on the bottom. So if it gets to be, sometimes we get these really warm days out here. The beautiful thing about Manitoba, you know, you go from plus 40 to negative 40. You get the whole temperature band. But that wax can slide down the strings, and all of a sudden now you're left with a mess on the bottom of the hive. And the bees, they make it work. To their credit, they do make it work. And but it's just annoying for the beekeeper. Scratching up my chairs. This is just where you have your correction device. See? So I'm unsticking these from the frames right now, and the reason I'm doing that is because for one, well, it's a little bit bowed. I don't mind if it's bowed that way, but you can see it's bowed this way. It veers off. This one was the thing a little bit even worse, but it's the reason why I took them out. It's the reason why I didn't use them yet. So I'm going to find some straight frames, put them on there, and then for all the hives I do have, at least I have some frames that I can still give to them. Just to get them to keep building, because that's the biggest issue I have right now is I just don't have enough wax for all these frames. I'll probably end up making a few more starter strips. I could, in all honesty, just go out and take down some hives. I might have, I'll have to see what I can scrounge around, but even just making strips on the top is better than nothing. At least you got something to build off from, and then I can give them these frames. Because even when it comes to my, I could shove more Langstroth frames in there, but they would be building Langstroth frames instead of filling them. I gave them everything they could to fill. So, yeah, I'm just gonna get some of these frames prepped, and then who knows? I might have to. I'd like to go look into the hives and see which ones could use some extra frames, which ones, you know, how they're doing. Just see how far they are, and then I'll go from there. Alright, well, I'm continuing, and I'm stringing. I've got some frames strung up. I don't have many strung up. I had to make 3 more actually, but from those I started putting these on there, and all I do is I take the battery, and I just got the bare copper going into the ports, and then, you know, you got your alligator clips on the end, and really one of them should be shorter than the other. But yeah, you just heat up the wire. Either do it slowly or you can't hold it on for long, but as you can see that you basically melt the wire into the foundation there, and does a good job of it. So the 2 full sheets I had, I cut those in half. I figured those can be the longer ones. And then there's the idea with that big wax pan is I would like to be able to put thin sheets of foundation in there, but the whole thing, not just strips. I don't mind the strips for you know, I want a full sheet, maybe a strip, full sheet, but at least, because if you give them this, they have they can take the creative liberties to kind of go wherever they want. You're just hoping that they really stay true to the course of that and they go straight down. And can they do that? Yeah, absolutely, they can do that. But you'll also see it from time to time where they can twist that comb, and they start, because now all this area, they have kind of, they can move there. And then you get this twisted comb, and then you don't have straight. So it's a bit of a nuisance. So I want to make flat sheets, thinner than this, just really thin flat sheets that cover the whole area, that gives them a dividing wall that they can build off of. That's the idea. So yeah, the other ones, I think I pulled this out of one of the hives too. So, and then I have that last one I pulled out, I just cut into 3. So I'll be, yeah, I have to string up 3 more frames, and then I'll have those done, and at least then I have a little bit more frames I can give the bees if they are in need of expansion, which is kind of critical at this point. I mean, they're all gearing up for winter right now. I mean, they've been gearing up for winters and springs, but for right now, they're especially with swarms, they're in the mentality that they want to build. That's all they want to do, and so I want to take advantage of that and give them the room to do that. So give them, get them as big as they can before the winter, and then Lord willing, they may have a good winter, and then we'll see what happens in the spring. But I guess I don't think that far ahead. Right now, I'm just looking forward to a honey harvest. Yeah, I think there's going to be something there, but again, that's going to be late in the season, later than everybody else, really. Just the way I do beekeeping around here, but yeah, we'll see how that turns out. Well, I took the frames and I just stored them. I'm going to store them in here for now. I like having a hive. Oh, that's what I do with the empty hive. You can store the frames in there. You don't have to sit in the house, and if you're lucky, maybe something moves in. You never know. But in other news, turns out there's a pretty good cat, I think. Yeah, little predator. You got a bird. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. That's good. My little mouser is full-time security now. So I'm pest control. So I'm gonna sit down for coffee, and then I think I'm gonna go make. When she eats, she can make a lot of noise. But I got plums I gathered yesterday. I think I showed that. But I cleaned them all, and just to illustrate, it's almost full. There's a lot of plums in there. I've never seen so many plums before. So I'm going to go in the bush because that was just one stand of plum trees that I know of. I was just checking the graphs yesterday, and all of a sudden the ground was littered with plums. I'll insert a picture, and then I'm like, oh, I could have either gone for So I just gathered them all, turned the shirt into a basket, and made do with that. But it worked, and there's probably a good almost 10 pounds of plums or so. There was weight to that. Probably more than that. But we'll see. I don't know, it feels like we're going to be in for a hard winter. I don't recall the plums ever being ripe that early. Choke cherries are setting in. Oak trees are already loosed some of their acorns. Like they're trying to get the other ones to ripen early. I don't know what it is. I hear some people, everything's coming in so late. Like everything seems really early. I don't know, I feel like I'm the only one that sees that. Everybody else says it's coming in late. I don't know, I guess it's late maybe for in the garden, but outside, even then, it doesn't seem. We just started August. I digress. I'll go probably out in the bush and then pick more plums after coffee. Alright, so yeah, I just got to thinking. I'm gonna go out and just get a bunch more plums because it's fun. and plum sauce is nice. You can store something for the winter too. And I don't know, it's kind of feeling that harvest time, so I want to see where the grafts are going to and see how the plums are doing. And I know there's a couple. Actually, this is just on the shooting range, but I don't know, you can see those over there. There's a few. A little far out, but yeah, you cross and poison ivy to get there. For, you know, not all that many in comparison to what I've seen out here. So yeah, I got a wee bucket, and we'll see. I know a few spots, so see what I can wrestle up. Okay, I'm at where I was yesterday. So you know, we got all these plum trees here. This is actually the graft that I put on this year, so it's working. But yeah, you can see there's plums on the ground, and I'm just, you know, some on the tree there. That's good stuff here. So yeah, you can see the overhangs. These are all plums, and so there was just a whole canopy. So I'm going around. I've already gotten that. Like I said, I haven't seen this many plums in a long time. So I'm wondering if is this an indication of a hard winter? Is this the fact that now there are bees again here? Because there weren't bees. I didn't have bees here last year. I started with nothing last year, and then I ended with 2. So I caught the swarm, but now we actually have a start on it. So I'm wondering what the factors are here. But I'm just gonna continue harvesting and see how much comes of it. Oh, I just wanted to highlight, this is the other graft that I made this year, and I'm quite happy with it. I mean, I never grafted before, so I mean, let's see if I can. Oh, my technology skills! Look at that. Okay, there we go. So I had 3 twigs. I grafted them. So this is an old plum rootstock on the plum. I chopped them off at the base there, and then yeah, I just side grafted them into the bark, and 2 of those shoots took. So as you can see, 2 of them are alive, and that 3rd one, this one, that one didn't make it. But hey, 2 for 3 is pretty good, I think. And you know how tall this thing is already? That's a lot of growth. And yeah, the cage is around there because I got all these guys out there, and I know that I don't know, they either might eat it or they could just as easily trample it. So I want to protect it somehow. But this plum is comes from my parents' place. It's not all that far off, but so I took cuttings from there, and then these are also plums. I'm just kind of curious because these ones are really, they're not all that ripe. Far from ripe, actually. So I got some plums here. I know there's another graft around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. I just took a side shoot and put it on there. So this one is, hey, this was the original branch. You can see it's doing something. So I'm not going to say that they're always the best grafts, but again, this was just a trial year. I never grafted before, so I just wanted to go out and then see what can be done. You know, you got a bunch of domestic plums. Well, there's a bunch of wild ones out here, so why not add some variety? And case in point, and the beautiful thing about this is because that is most domestic plums need wild ones to actually breed with, to pollinate. So now I got one here, and I mean, the very fact that you can use the rootstock is awesome. You can just see how much growth there is from it. But when that gets nice and tall, then it's got all these to pollinate with. And I'll have to come back at some point and, you know, should do some pruning, because, you know, look, you got dead branches and stuff like that. But they're getting curious, so Yeah, it's cute. I don't know. All these plums, they're just from that one spot. So I'm gonna keep looking around, see what else is ripe. I know a few other spots. I know my brother, he's got lots of plums at his place, but curious to know why those are so ripe when these are not even close yet. So just I guess there's always something to learn. Alright, well, I didn't really film much of any of that process, but I mean, I got everything pitted, so yeah, that's all just done by hand. Had a little setup, pick them out the bowl, and I only realized when it was near the end that you can grab a handful and just tick, 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 tick. But you know, that's the thing about these long-winded processes. You always find the most efficient system when you're done. But anyway, that's pitted, and then nothing goes to waste around here. So all the pits and all the bad ones, they all go into here, and now that's going to make some plum vinegar. So there's that going. Here's the strawberry, actually. That one is smelling really good, and that's still some of the old apple, which can actually already be, that can be cantered off into a better vessel. So that's going on. I just came back from the store. I picked up some ironically, apple cider vinegar. I have, just my own stuff, and then I don't have enough to really that I want to use myself. I would use it for canning because I do believe I should get some sort of pH tester on there, like the acidity percentage tester. However you do that, I'm not sure. But I do believe that it is well above. But I do think it's more than 5%. That stuff is strong, especially when you make it, and then when it sits all that time, especially when it breathes, it does evaporate a bit. But it's water that comes off, and you can taste it on there. It's stronger than what you find. It feels that this stuff is watered down in comparison. So this is 5%, what you're supposed to use, and so I have no hesitation to use my own stuff for canning. That said, my mother was, she was going to help. I invited her over if she wanted to or not, but she showed up. Then the cat kind of got distracted her. But I want to get that. She's got this stick mixer. I think that'll do wonders. We'll get this on the stove, start warming it up, get this into a nice sauce, and then we'll start working with a recipe. And I'm just using a canning recipe that the good old Chat GPT shoved up, because I'm going to use. I don't like using sugar in canning. I mean, that's just me. I prefer using honey. I know honey's more expensive, but it's just what I mean, I have sugar too, but I don't know, I just prefer using honey, but I mean, maybe I should use sugar. I have more of it. But I just realized that I could make almost a plum sauce entirely of my own ingredients, because outside of the 3 primers, vinegar, honey, and plums, and the rest is spice. So I could actually theoretically just make my own in-house plum sauce, completely from what was grown here. But yeah, the only outside source is the spices at this point, and I guess the vinegar, but I could use my own, but choose not to. So I'm gonna continue with that, and then we'll kind of see where that goes. Alright, so I'm in the middle of canning right now, just running to and fro. So here's the plum sauce. These ones are 9. 2 of them already went off or sealed. I got 9 more coming up to the boil, and I got 9 more preheating. So I don't know, it gets hectic, but that's kind of the way I like it. I'm always on the move around here. So I got 9 more cans ready, but that's probably not gonna. That's not 9 more jars there, so I'm gonna probably be ending up 18. 22 is my guess. 22 is my guess. The recipe called for roughly 4 jars, 4 pints per recipe. I had I doubled the recipe is 7-fold, so there should theoretically be 28 jars, but I said 3 or 4 jars, so it's give or take. 7 for 20, between 21 and 28 should be roughly what it gives. but we'll see how that goes. And I'm curious. I taste a little bit. It's a little bit tart, but it's also these plums. They're wild, so they're not the sweetest. And but you know, it's just see how that all turns out. And, I don't know. It's a nice addition to making. I don't know if you're making ground beef. It's just a sauce that you can put in with whatever you're cooking. So see how that turns out, and just it's almost there. Well, I'm in the chicken coop, and well, you see, I got this old hog feeder. I'm done the canning, by the way, so I think that I got 20 jars there, 20 pints. But this is where I put the chicken food in. But you see this lid, it kept coming off. That was a bad way I put it on there. I used to have screws that, so if I take this one off here, I used to have screws on the back side, so that it would hook under here, so it wouldn't tip. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier, but now, because they kept pushing it off, so now it just sits in there. Now it's locked. They can't do nothing. You can't push it on there. Can't go up. You can't pull it forwards. It needs to be physically lifted and slid out. That's what's stopping it. This little piece here. So also what's preventing it. And there we go. So small thing, but it just need to get it done. All right. So yeah, after the canning, then. I guess the chicken feeder fixed, and I went through the garden, and well, I kind of realized that I got issues with potato beetles. It's something I never dealt with, so I made up a little vinegar water dish soap solution, sprayed everything, and then went through them and just picked out whatever I could see. So, you know, and I just fed those to the chickens. But yeah, I just gotta, I guess, keep monitoring that now and see how that does. But yeah, it's just one more thing to look out for. Yeah, it's late now. It's well, around 9:30. But I'm calling for a day. I don't know. I just feel beat. I'm done. So, I had a little bugger here. She's entertaining herself. Yeah, if you watched this far, thanks for watching and take care.